Well, hello and welcome to the Informed Traveler Podcast, a weekly travel podcast where our goal is to help you become a more informed traveler. And I'm your host, Randy Sharman. Our resident travel expert, Onanta Forbes, is still down under visiting Australia. So in a few seconds, we'll check in with her again this week to see what she's been up to and where she's been in her travels. Plus, we'll head over to the UK and chat with Paul Ullson. He's the events coordinator for Arundel Castle, a beautifully restored and remodeled medieval castle located in Arundel, England. And Ken Stewart from Crowfoot Travel Solutions will also be along with a few destination ideas and travel deals with our weekly roundup. But first, let's kick things off chatting with travel expert Onanta Forbes, who's been traveling down under in Australia the last few weeks. You can follow her adventures on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Onanta Forbes. OnantaForbes.com is her website. Last time we chatted, Onanta, you were in Tasmania. So where are you now?
I'm in Melbourne. So I had a very nice week and a day in Tasmania. After I left you, I headed up to Cradle Mountain. We stayed at Cradle Mountain Lodge, and this is widely considered to be one of Australia's wilderness experiences, like how people come to Banff and Jasper, kind of iconic in that way. It is it's a World Heritage listed site, and a lot of people go here, whether it's visitors from overseas or domestic tourism, which is huge in Australia. A lot of people come here. Easy drive to get to. We stayed at the Crandall Mountain Lodge, which is part of the Peppers brand, which is part of Accor, and it's in a breathtaking location. That's all I can say. It's got great service. One thing to keep in mind, if you're that person that likes to be connected at all time, they only have Wi-Fi in the lounge or in the reception area. So not in your room, and there's no TV in your room. So people don't know that, and sometimes they arrive and they're a little bit disgruntled, but actually don't worry about it. It's easy walking distance to the lodge, and you're not there to see what's going on in the world. You're seeing what's going on in where you are, and it's such a beautiful place. Around the lodge, there's lots of little walking paths that we went on. Easy to do. What I did notice was a lot of families there. So if you're interested in taking your kids to explore the nature, this is a great place to do it. They'll be utterly enchanted. The walking paths are actually boardwalks, so it's for the majority of the part. It's a easy walking path with some elevation, opportunities to see wildlife. We saw wallabies and different animals and birds that are very, very prevalent there. So there is that. You do need a national park pass. So if you're going from one national park to another, you may be interested in getting more than just a day. There's opportunity to get for a week to utilize. It's just like ours in Canada, so kind of keep that in mind. And then outside the property, there's an opportunity to go on again, different hikes. One that's very popular is called Dove Lake Circuit, that gives you really great views of the Crandall Mountain. Or you can set out on a multi-day one, which is called Overland Track, and it's one of Australia's premier hikes. A place to eat is at Devil's at Cradle. It's good for dinner hour, as well as you can kind of enter the Cradle underworld by going on a canyon tour. So lots to do. You won't be bored, but you can also very much relax here. I went to the spa, great spa. And, so very, very, I'd say a nice way to explore a different type of holiday in Australia. Kind of low key, because when you're in the cities, you're going pretty high pace.
So I'm curious, because you've been hopping from place to place to place. How much luggage did you bring? Did you pack light? Because it seems you're going to be unpacking and packing all the time.
Yeah, and that's a very good point. Because we're going onwards from Australia on a cruise after this, I packed my biggest suitcase because I had to accommodate different types of travel, like whether it's cruiseware, city, or, nature. So yeah, I'm definitely getting the eye from my partner as I buy things because I like to shop as well. And then so you have to keep in mind that because we're also traveling domestic air with Virgin Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's usually just 23 kilos. Well, I'm well above 23 kilos. So what I've been doing is I've been bidding for upgrades for business class, which is probably more than just paying for the extra luggage. But, it's nice to go business class
Mm-hmm.
at times too. But keep
Mm-hmm.
that in mind. It's a great point that you bring up because luggage is, you have to recognize that there is going to be an impact when you do travel domestically on the air. Even when we were going on the Indian Pacific, the rail, they do only recommend a certain weight limit, but it's not as, I guess, observed as much as it is on the airline. So keep that in mind. And also, as a person, lugging this around is also a workout. So there you go. You can think of it as that as well. So from Tasmania, we have flown into Melbourne, which is a huge city, almost the same size as Sydney. I think they have spitting matches to see who's bigger, but it's a huge city, very much spread out, very long. If you're arriving and you haven't sorted out your transfer ahead of time, you can get Uber or taxi, but it's not cheap. So Uber, the cheapest, would be about 60 Australian dollars, and taxis are more. But there is different shuttle services that you can get that are lower in price.
So, what have you learned that you didn't know, or what has surprised you, or, obviously, you don't know what you don't know, right? So, you
Yeah.
don't know until you get there. So, what have you learned that surprised you so far?
Don't overbook your activities because one thing that we found in Melbourne is so we went on the Great Ocean Road, which is a huge opportunity to see the different beaches and ocean roads, which is long and windy along Melbourne or just outside of Melbourne. But it's a long day. You start at 7 and you end at 9. And then we also went on to Phillips Island, but we booked a city tour in the morning and then Phillips Island in the afternoon, and we didn't get back till midnight.
Oh,
and then
my.
yesterday was Yarrow Valley wine tour. We got back at 5. So lesson learned. It's pretty hectic, late nights, early morning. So don't overbook. Plan a day of leisure, just where you have no plans and you're just
Mm-hmm.
going to, do whatever you want to do. The other thing we've kind of found out is with what you said about the weight luggage, is to keep in mind how much you pack. The lighter, the better. Also, with regards to if you're going to drive, you may want to consider the international driver's license. Here in Australia, everybody speaks English, so it may not be as prevalent as when you would go to Europe where there's different language, different borders, and so on. So keep that in mind. And also, we went on the Wine Bay Glass Tour, and some really good tips about. We had the perfect day, Randy. It was bright blue, sunny skies. Weather was good, but you're still on water. And so we got a crash course in how to manage motion sickness, which can, manage, when you're going on the Great Ocean Road, because there are windy roads. So, take, they have travel ginger tablets that you can take, or they say, step outside and take off your jumper to get cool. Don't go into the bathroom and just sit there because it's hot and stuffy, so you'll feel even worse. And
Yeah.
take advantage of the white little bags that they hand out and such. So, and also what I would also recommend is consider, when you go, different free things to do. Because in Australia, as I mentioned, it is it is expensive. So they have a free tram circuit that you can go on, and you can kind of explore the city in that manner, and kind of see the layout of the land and where you should go back to and such. But so those are some of the things that, we experience. Take advantage of the free Wi-Fi. Like, we've been in different cities, and the city itself offers free Wi-Fi. The different attractions that we go to offer free Wi-Fi. So you don't have to have a phone plan, like I don't, before you go. Like, we're just working off of Wi-Fi. Totally.
Nice. I do like your idea of, taking a break a day where you don't do anything. I kind of use it with a cruise analogy where you have a sea day, port day, sea day, port day. So it balances out and you're not go, 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 because it can wear you out, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then it may even take away from the fun of, touring, because then you're so tired that you're just not, enjoying what you're seeing, and you're napping on the bus and such, which is sometimes okay too. But
this is true. So what's ahead now in the next few days?
So we've explored Melbourne, great city. One of the things that we bumped into, a lot of people. Do you know who Luke Combs is? He's a very famous,
big country star.
Yeah, so he's touring Australia, and as I mentioned, that there's a lot of domestic tourism that's happening. We met lots of people that are coming into Melbourne they had a concert last night and tonight, and are going to it. So what we did was we went on a city tour, and we had the opportunity to see, if you're a sports fan, Melbourne is really good for sports. They have actually what they call a sports district or precinct. And this is where they have like the Rod Laver tennis stadium. Cricket's huge here. So there's a cricket ground. At the Docklands, they have Marvel Stadium, as that's where Luke Combs is going to be. So lots of things to do here, just walking around. Today is our last night in Melbourne, and then off to Sydney that we go tomorrow for 2 days before we actually head off on our cruise. So, while you're in Melbourne, take advantage of the wineries that are around here, good gourmet or just eating opportunities to enjoy. Walking around, there's this place called Queen Victoria Marketplace that has lots of buskers and food options, as well as shopping options as well. One thing I did learn, Melbourne is the only city in the world that has a hook turn. And a hook turn enables a driver to make a right turn in selected intersections. And they're clearly posted, and they were introduced to ensure trams move through intersections without being delayed by cars waiting to turn right. Now, it says that it's easy to navigate. Remember, we're driving on the opposite side of the road. It's not that easy. So lots of little learnings and lots of little, nice little, I want to say, uniqueness about the destination.
Well, the next time we talk to you, you'll be on your cruise, I would assume. So
yes, looking forward.
Enjoy your time on land, and then we'll catch you on board at sea next time.
You bet. You take care.
Always a pleasure. Onanta Forbes is a travel expert. Follow her adventures on Instagram, Facebook, and X. I have, and the images and the pictures are amazing. You're doing a great job with those too. And her website is onantaforbes.com. Thanks again, Onanta. Safe travels.
Care. Bye.
Well, I think any visit to the UK wouldn't be complete without a tour of a medieval castle. And one that fits the bill perfectly is getting set to open for another season, and that would be Arundel Castle. So joining us now to tell us all about the castle is Paul Ullson. He's the events coordinator for Arundel Castle. The website is arundelcastle.org. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Randy. How you doing?
I'm well, thank you. I'm looking at the website, arundelcastle.org. It looks amazing. Give me the Coles Notes version of the history of Arundel Castle and kind of what you do there.
Okay, so Arundel Castle is coming up for nearly 1,000 years old. It was first built in 1067, soon after the Norman conquest. It has seen 2.5 sieges in its long life. It has been remodeled, redesigned 200 to 300 years ago. So anyone coming to visit the castle today would see a fantastic Gothic revival, Victorian style castle from the front. And then you come around the side and you've still got the original coming up for 1,000-year-old mound called a motte. And on top of that, mostly a medieval castle, which dates for a good 800 to 900 years old.
So where is it located then? Now, I have never been to England or the UK, so give me coming from London, for example, where would it be?
Okay, so if you were coming to the UK, so you're looking at the south coast of England itself. From London, as a point of reference, you would be coming south and slightly west, so southwest.
Okay.
Very, very good train links from London straight down to Arundel, and then from Arundel you can get to Brighton. Arundel you can get to Portsmouth the other direction as well. So it's right on the south coast. It's on the River Arun. The whole idea of the castle was it was to guard the coast from potential invasion and also attack maybe from French during the Middle Ages as well. And again, Second World War, it was their frontline castle should the Germans have invaded as well. So it's right on the coast, overlooks the coast. It's about 6 miles inland, but it was an inland port because of that significant river.
Interesting. I find it fascinating that it wasn't just built willy-nilly. It was there for a reason, and quite a strategical reason, it sounds like.
Very much so. When the Normans first came to this country, their big issue was not only to secure the country from the Saxons, but also to prevent a Scandinavian invasion following on hard behind their hills. So a lot of the castles were first built to protect the coastline. That enabled them to secure the countryside, but also, should they need to evacuate, get back to those castles, straight back across the channel, back to the homeland. So no castle is there by coincidence. It's all very well planned, very well designed, and strategically positioned.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk about the Arundel Castle now. Like it's not open yet. Like it sounds like it's a seasonal thing.
Yeah, it sort of goes really from April or when Easter happens, because Easter obviously is a movable feast, so to speak. So from Easter right away through to the end of October, that's the open season, and it goes from Tuesday through to Sundays. In August, it's open for 7 days a week, and again, opens up at 10 o'clock, and it's sort of starts winding down around about 5 o'clock. So you can get a full day's activities. Got award-winning gardens there. You've got the stately home. You've got the castle aspect as well. And then from my part, you have the events throughout the year as well. The whole events bring the castle alive. Lots of have-a-go activities for the visitors. But what we really want to do is to show that this is a living castle. There's still a family in residence. The Dukes of Norfolk still have this as their family seat and home. But also you've got the family in residence, you've got a stately home, you've got a castle nearly 1,000 years old. Bring it alive. Get people out there in costume, demonstrating what history was like.
Mm-hmm. So how popular is it? Like, are people already trying to book in advance? You're sold out every year. What are the peak moments?
Yeah, I mean, the events definitely draw people into the castle, no doubt about that. The award-winning gardens also draw a significant amount of different people into the castle as well. And for the gardens point of view, you can come in on the grounds ticket. And again, we are talking, as I said, award-winning gardens, particularly within the grounds of the castle. The castle itself, again, opens up at 12 o'clock and then runs through to about 4:30. That's the interior part of the castle. The events obviously start at 10 o'clock and then run all the way throughout the day as well. So there's lots for everyone to do. There's lots for everyone to see, to engage with, and got different audiences, really. I mean, you have the people that want to see the gardens, people that want to see the castle, people want to see the events. So it does draw a lot of people in. I mean, you are looking around between 160, 200,000 people per year. Peak season really is that sort of late July through to August. That's when we get most people are on holiday. We get lots of student groups, international student groups coming from that sort of time. But again, weekdays are sometimes the best days off season, so to speak, out of the holidays, when you can come and enjoy the castle, you get pretty much the castle to itself. You have children's education groups coming in as well. But I think personally, it's out of the holidays is the best time to visit the castle. You don't get too flooded out with people then.
Well, it does look amazing. Again, I'm looking at the website, arundelcastle.org. The gardens look amazing, but I want you to touch a little bit more about the events, and particularly the medieval festivals that must be a spectacular sight too.
Yeah, what we've tried to do over the years, and the events have evolved literally over about 20 or so years now, is we try to offer aspects of the castle's history in different sort of time periods. So we normally have what we regard as a Norman event, so the 12th century. This is when the castle really is starting to develop as a stone castle. There are 2 sieges during this particular time. This is a time really where the Middle Ages are really starting to get going. We get visits from Henry I, King Stephen. We've got Richard the Lionheart visiting the castle. Then we move into the 15th century. This is a turbulent time for English history. We've got a nasty civil war called the Wars of the Roses. So now we're reflecting then the High Middle Ages. We do a joust, which is a 6-day event. We do a medieval tournament, 4 Nations tournament that would be this year. So we have people from different countries coming to compete against that. We have a siege as well. Now we call that a skirmish. So we have a pretend idea that a French raiding party has come over here and the garrison has to defend it. And then we peak really at the bank holiday August, right at the end of August, where we have a multi-period event, which is 12,000 years of the castle and the area's history. Stone Age right the way up to modern times. Lots of different historical reenactment groups, lots of activities. There is something literally for everybody.
Well, that does sound very exciting. Do you have a favorite part of the castle or a favorite event that you always look forward to?
Do you know, when I came to the castle as a child, and this is one of the reasons why I think I'm so passionate about history, is when I came there with my grandparents, and we're talking about 40 odd, nearly 50 odd years ago now. And my grandparents never wanted to go up to the keep, didn't want to do all the steps. So I only saw what in essence is the stately home part, which is largely a Victorian house, Victorian home. And we used to pass the castle on a regular basis, and I wouldn't even look at the castle because in my mind, I'd only seen the Victorian copy, a Victorian house. And it's only when you work there and you're walking through the older part of the castle, the gatehouse, up to the keep, that you're really realising that you're stepping on stones that have been there for 800 years, and that the people that have run up and down those stairs, guarding the castle, the servants, the ladies with their dresses, there is a real sense of history. So for me, it's the old part of the castle, the guardhouse, the keep. That's where you can feel the history, you almost taste the history if you want. And then there's the Fitzalan Chapel. This is where lots of the Earls of Arundel and now the Dukes of Norfolk are buried. And again, when you're walking through there, these people lying here in state, have been so influential to English and sometimes European history that I think we are very, very bad sometimes about remembering our past and what people have positively done. We look at sometimes the negative aspects of the past, but these people contributed a huge amount to national and international affairs, for good and for bad, admittedly. But there's a lot of people who are buried there in that chapel that are really, really interesting. They have got fascinating lives all by themselves.
You mentioned steps and things like that. How easy is it to navigate or get around if do you need to be sort of physically fit?
There are parts of the castle that can be accessed by lifts. The late Victorians installed lifts, and we've also got some more modern lifts as well. So there are aspects of the stately home part of the castle that are accessed for people with a disability, particularly wheelchairs and what have you. The keep, obviously, being a listed building now, coming up for 900 years old in its standing part, is more tricky. And there are a number of steps to go up to the keep. If you can do it, I'd highly recommend it. There are stopping off points so you can have breathing places, so you don't have to do it all in one stretch. But definitely, there are also buggies within the grounds as well. So if you do have a mobility problem, there are ways that you can traverse the grounds, and there are ways that you can get into the stately home. The oldest part of the castle is a little bit trickier, particularly if you have mobility problems, but there's plenty still more to see.
Well, you can get tickets right on your website. Again, it's
Hmm.
arundelcastle.org. Are they
Yeah.
part of tours? Do you find that they're like, if I'm, coming from, let's use London again as an example, coming from there, is there tours that offer the castle as well?
Well, this is one thing that I started a few years ago, was very much that I wanted to engage with the visitors and take them to parts of the castle that perhaps they would have missed, or perhaps they would have just walked past and not noticed what was going on. So if you check the website, there will be days when certainly I will be doing tours of the Dry Moat, which talks about the defences of the castle. We'll have an English Civil War tour talking about that specific siege. There's a pilgrims tour talking about the holy or religious sites within the castle grounds and the chapel itself. So there's also meet different characters as well. So I do a medieval herald, for example, in the Fitzallen Chapel. So it's a way that I can engage with the visitors either in smaller groups or also things that you can find out that perhaps you would not normally find out if you just have the guidebook. There's always guides around the castle as well to talk to, so that's a really important thing to mention. So yeah, if people check the website, there are certain days where we will be doing tours, organised tours, and then obviously you have the events as well.
Anything that like a first-time visitor would need to know, anything like tips or something like that?
I think the top tip I would always say to people is, number one, get there early. Number two, don't expect it to be there for just an hour. Give at least a good 3-4 hours to have a good look around the castle and the grounds as well. So don't stint on your time is what I'm saying. Some people sort of turn up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and then they will walk away saying, we haven't done it all. Or even worse, you turn up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and, the castle's starting to wind down at 5 o'clock. So if you're going to come to the castle, I would suggest getting there early and allowing a good 3 or 4 hours to explore the castle. The town is fantastic as well. Very historical town. There's lots and lots of cafes within the town and pubs and what have you. There are places that you can stay locally as well. So again, it's worth looking at Arundel and saying, right, I can base myself here. I can go off to Brighton. I can go off to London. I can go off to Chichester, Portsmouth, Southampton. You can do that all by train and get good road links as well.
That sounds like a great idea. That's something that I would do. Then if I miss something, I can always go back the next day or something like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have Arundel Festival as well, which again is in August. So there are lots of arts and creative things within the town itself. And again, what I've always said to people, if you want to find out about the castle, come when there's the event on. You get best value for money if you can think, I'm going to turn up, I'm going to pay a full price ticket, and I can't remember what the prizes are, so please forgive me on that one. But if you pay a full price ticket on an event day, you get the award-winning gardens, you get the stately home, you get the castle, you get the event, you get all the have-a-go activities, all included in that price. Now, you go to other places, and they'll charge you the entrance fee, and then they charge you separate prices for all the activities that you do. And then that's where, you feel like, I spent all this money to come in, what have I got to show for it? All I seem to be doing is spending. So when you first look at the price, you think, oh, that's quite expensive. Come on an event day, you are quids in.
Well, it all sounds amazing and definitely a must-see type of areas. Arundel Castle. Paul Ullson is the events coordinator at Arundel Castle, and again, their website is arundelcastle.org. Amazing, Paul. It sounds amazing. You have a fabulous job, it sounds like.
Do you know, I have been very, very lucky. And as the Duke of Norfolk once said, I turned up at the castle and I've been there ever since. And it's very, very true. When I was working for a local museum, I wanted to do work with local historical sites. So I came over to the castle, introduced myself, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed and all the rest of it. And here I am 20-odd plus years later and I'm still there. So it was the right time, right place. And yeah, it is just awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Well, it was a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much again for doing all this.
Anytime, Randy. More than happy to help. It's been great talking to you.
This is the Informed Traveler Podcast. I'm Randy Sharman. Just want to remind you of our website, theinformedtraveler.org. That's where you can find our contact page if you have any questions or comments about the podcast. You can also email me too with any questions you might have or show ideas. My email address is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And if you want to get up-to-date travel info through the week or just see a few amusing travel stories and links, you can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/informedtraveler, on Instagram @Informed Traveler, or on X @Informed Traveler. Plus, you can now sign up for our monthly newsletter. It's released at the beginning of every month, and our first issue, our February issue, is available now. Just go to our website, theinformedtraveler.org, click on the newsletter button, and it'll take you right there, or better yet, subscribe to it and have it arrive in your inbox each month. So now, as always, we'd like to end the show with our weekly roundup, and joining us to do that is Ken Stewart from Crowfoot Travel Solutions. Good day, sir.
Hello, Randy. Hello, everybody. And wow, if we had some really cold weather. But if you're a golfer like me, the only place that we're hitting golf balls is likely at an indoor driving range or indoor screen with some of our friends and a few drinks. But why not try hitting some balls outdoors? I mean, USA is always a great option, but with the US dollar exchange right now, it can get pretty pricey for a trip. But we can put together packages and or sell you packages that are already built. Maybe you want to go over to the UK. Again, great courses over in Scotland, Wales, Portugal. Maybe you want to fly overseas to Thailand and Asia, where the weather is always great and really great golf prices over there for the winter season to keep your game up. As an example, we've got a Portugal golf package, 21 days in a one-bedroom apartment, car rental, unlimited golf at 5 courses from 35.10 Canadian per person.
Wow.
But, if you think about that and unlimited golf, if you're really ambitious, you could do 2 a day.
For 21 days straight? I don't think so.
Not at my age, trust me.
Me neither.
I agree there. But we can also assist with packages for those of you that are real golf enthusiasts. Again, maybe you want to attend the Phoenix Open, which is really, really popular. Of course, Augusta and the Major, as well as the Ryder Cup, which in this year, 2025, is being held in Long Island, New York. So an easy get to. New York City is a great city to stay and lots to see and do there. And if you're a cruiser, you could even maybe do a cruise pre or post before the Ryder Cup. So you can kind of double dip and get 2 holidays in one.
Yeah, combine them all together. Speaking of which, I wanted to ask you about, you mentioning U.S. Have you had any blowback from all this tariff issue and things like that? People saying they're not going to travel to the U.S.?
All kinds of talk. And we've actually had, we're doing a Mason's Alaska cruise this fall. And we've had 2 people that have canceled because it's a USA thing. And again, it comes down to a really personal choice. I think the biggest impact right now is, of course, the US dollar, and that has been, an impact for the last few years. But again, traveling to the US, a lot of people are uncomfortable about actually going to the physical US. But again, if you're doing a cruise, I mean, you're flying into the city that you're, starting from, and then you're heading out from there. So not really an issue in our minds. But again, it's one of those personal choice things, right?
It is a personal choice, and that's why I really don't discuss it much here. It's like, if you want to go, go. If you don't want to go, don't go. So
politics, nobody's friend.
Exactly. So that's why we leave it out of there. I was just curious. Also, with the UK golfing packages, I was thinking, you mentioned Scotland. That's where the British Open is held, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, and it changes in different courses each year and everything like that. And again, packages are available for that. I'm glad you mentioned it. But those tend to sell out the full year in advance for those ones. So again, they're really popular. And if you're an enthusiast and it's a bucket list item, we can help you put that together.
I'm sure you can.
Well, again, it's still not too late to get away from all the cold winter. I mean, we've still got a few months going, so consider a long stay like the Portugal one we just mentioned. There's all kinds of choices in Spain, the French Riviera over in Asia, as I mentioned, even down under, anywhere from 14 days to as many as 28 days or longer, we can request. So just depending on your time and budget. So if it's not going to work for you this year, and again, whatever, consider looking at for next fall and winter.
Mm-hmm.
We're already available to start locking in some of the dates and get yourself locked in with the destination of your choice and the style of your stay that you want.
Well, and two, get yourself locked in at the price of this year, because who knows what the price is going to be next year.
Exactly.
Right?
Inflation, unfortunately, still stays with us.
Mm-hmm.
And if you weren't able to get away this winter, we can start helping you plan your next fall or winter getaway. Right now, we're seeing more and more product being loaded into the system for all the South Sun destinations. So, we got the Dominican, Jamaica, Mexico, all of that going right now. And right now, we can see packages for almost all of December. So, again, every week they're putting more and more in there. So, again, if you did get the chance this way, lock yourself in for next year and, again, take advantage of that early pricing.
Nice. Okay.
One of our preferred partners for those sun destinations is Air Canada Vacations, and we want to remind you of all that they have to offer. So they don't do just the sun destinations, which are available all year long, but you've got a lot of tours now that you can choose from with there that include air in the package. A lot of times it's accommodation, a few excursions, some meals, and they've got all the popular destinations, again, Canada, USA, but also packages over to Europe. Now they're doing India, Asia. Maybe you want to do a beach day in Bali, Australia, Colombia, and more to come. They're adding all the time. So again, it's a great way to put everything all together and have a one price deal kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a cruiser, they work with pretty much all the popular cruise lines. And if you're adding air to their packages, it's a great value for you there because that air is fully refundable up to 24 hours before your sailing dates kind of thing. So, and they even throw in their cruise guarantee, which one of the items is if you find a cheaper airfare after you've booked it, they're going to give it to you for free. My
Woo.
favorite four-letter word, free. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I
and
like
again,
that.
reminders. And I know you're an Aeroplan member. I'm an Aeroplan member. Lots of them out there. Everything you book that
Mm-hmm.
has an air portion in it earns you your Aeroplan points, and some even have bonus points with promos throughout the year. So, have
Very
a chat
nice.
with us about your options.
Mm-hmm.
And while we're talking about those Aeroplan points, a reminder also with Air Canada Vacations, because it's a sister company, let's use those existing Aeroplan points that you've got in your account. Depending on how many you've got, you can use them to pay for any package cruise tour, anything booked with Air Canada Vacations. We help you do all of that. The biggest thing you have to do is just convert those Aeroplan points in your account into an Air Canada gift card. You give us the numbers and we apply them to your package or cruise or whatever it is you got. And if you've got enough, you can actually pay for your whole booking.
Nice. I like that too.
Yeah.
Speaking of cruising, is it still wave season or is it done now?
No, wave season is on this month, but surprisingly, we haven't seen that much talk about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because of the U.S. situation or not.
Well, I think, the wave season hit before the U.S. stuff hit the fan. But yeah, you haven't seen as much promotion about wave season as you have in the past years, maybe because people are constantly booking cruises and maybe they don't need wave season anymore. I don't know. Maybe
Wow, it's
wave
still out
season
there.
is all year round.
It's still out there, and there's still deals. So again, give us a call, and we can help you figure that out.
Cool. Okay.
Speaking of cruises, Uniworld River Cruises, it's a sister in the TTC's family, which include names that you're probably familiar with. Insight Vacations, Trafalgar, Brennan Vacations, which is the Ireland specialist, cost saver. They've got their 2025 worldwide tour sale on across all the portfolio brands. All new bookings by February the 20th, so we've got still some time to take advantage of those, and that includes Europe, North America, Down Under, and much more. Past guests, if you've booked with them before, you're going to receive an additional pricing bonus. If you're a history buff, for example, check out France with Trafalgar, focusing on the Canadian area and all of those who fought in the Normandy landing, as well as taking in Paris and things like that. If you're a wine lover, again, we've got France, we've got Portugal, we've got Spain or Italy, and all of them have great wines and great tours, especially the great wines, according to my wife. And a lot of those experiences in Insight and Trafalgar, that they include a special guest experience, they call it, where you visit and dine with a local family, either for a lunch or a dinner on their property and at their house or villa, and experience their way of living. And it's really great. I know we had one comment about one where the family actually took all their furniture out of the living room area and things like that, so they could put up tables and everything inside to accommodate everybody. So you're actually going with a local, which is really, really cool.
Well, a lot of people want to do more of that, right? Immerse themselves in local culture and get to know the locals, for lack of a better term.
Because it may be a vineyard, or I know the example that I just mentioned where they took the furniture out or whatever, they actually had an olive and a wine vineyard on site. And again, they did a fantastic meal, had some entertainment. So it's a great way to experience some local culture. So if you're looking for luxury, along with the smaller groups, and Insight Gold and Insight Vacations probably has your tour. If you want to hit all the highlights and be looked after in great detail, then consider Trafalgar. Brendan Vacations we mentioned is the Ireland and UK specialist, and Cost Saver still gives you a lot in the packages, just like the others do, but more of a budget and choice to do things at your own pace. So they've got everything for you covered.
Very nice. Okay.
And again, we always like to remind everybody, online pricing is almost identical to what any agent can find for you. We're looking at the same stuff. But not only can we assist you before, make some help with some suggestions, maybe ask you a couple questions you didn't think of, assist you during, and heaven forbid, if necessary, after the trip or during it, if there's an issue. Booking online, you're still essentially dealing with a travel agent, but no personalized service or conversations. And you don't want to have to sit on the phone for 3 to 4 hours to try and talk to somebody to just ask quick questions. So look after everything by yourself too, and that includes if there's flight delays or anything. Example, we had clients last weekend. We're in Cancun. It was 3 days before they could get home. They kept having a mechanical on the plane, and we actually rebooked them on a connecting flight, which worked out better because they ended up, that flight they were supposed to take that same day was still canceled. So again, we can help you work those things out. If you've never used a real life travel agent, try one out. You might like how easy the process is and how much more enjoyable in the end your vacation is.
Excellent. And if people want to give you a call with any questions, what's the number?
403-241-7140 here in Calgary. And if you're outside Calgary, you can call us toll free, 1-877-511-5511. Then you too can relax. It's all taken care of.
Indeed, sir.
Have a great week, everyone.
And that is our show for this week. If you have comments or questions, we'd love to hear from you. If you have a show idea, send that along as well. My email is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And if you like what you heard, tell a friend. You can check out our website too at theinformedtraveler.org. In the meantime, thanks for listening, travel safe, and be an informed traveler.